the Adulting is Easy podcast, where we make adulting easier by making money easier. This is your host, Lauren. Please rate and review if you get a chance. We haven't had any of those in a little while. I'm joined today by my husband, Aric. He and I have been together since 2015 and married since 2019. Happy Valentine's Day, babe, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for having me back on the show.
Yeah, I should have looked this up. It's been years since you've been on, so this will be fun.
Yep, surprised you let me back on after last time.
It was fine, whatever it was. So, got to pay some bills real quick. I'm sure you'll appreciate this. This episode is brought to everybody by Steadily Landlord Insurance. Steadily covers many different kinds of properties: single family, multifamily, vacant, restorations, apartment buildings, condos, and even manufactured homes. Also, of course, Airbnbs and VRBOs and other short-term rentals. If you rent property to others, please support this podcast by clicking the link in the show notes and getting a quote today. So our goal for today, as always, is to make adulting easier for listeners by discussing a personal finance topic, since managing money is a big part of adulting. Today, Aric, you and I are going to discuss the way couples handle their personal finances, joint, separate, or even hybrid. And you and I have prepped separately and not together. So this should be kind of fun because we don't know what each other are going to say. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. So like I said, there's three ways that couples can have finances, basically: totally separate, totally joint, or some kind of hybrid of those. And I thought when I was thinking about what to do for this episode, at first I was thinking we would maybe talk about how we do our finances, but it is a mumbo jumbo bunch of crap, and I don't really think people should try to do it the way we do it. So we're just going to talk generally here and maybe ideally. So the first one I want to talk about was 100% joint finances. So this means all income goes in and all expenses go out of the same account. So what do you have as a pro for 100% joint finances?
So, okay, sorry. I have a question real quick. Is this does this assume like a length of time that a couple has been together? Because for me, that's kind of important for 100% joint.
I know. I hear you. Well, and my question always is, okay, at what point do you go 100% joint, right? I mean, if you're
Right.
together for 5 years, but you're not married, do you do joint? If you're together for 5 minutes, but you are married, do you do joint? Was it when you get engaged? Is it when you moved in? Like, when do you take that step?
So, yeah, I'll just go to my first pro real quick and kind of circle back to that. So my first pro is you can easily track and manage and budget. I mean, when everything's coming in and out of one place, it doesn't get any easier than that.
Yep, that's true. I had that basically the same. I have shared goals with shared visibility.
Right.
So yeah, same idea there. Each member of the couple can see what is coming in, what is going out, and that helps people, like you said, track things a lot easier. I have a
Right.
pro that says you are one in the eyes of God, the government, and society. So combining your finances just emphasizes this. What do you think about that one?
I could see that. I mean, to me, again, that's like if you get married, that idea holds true. I mean, if you're just dating, I mean, yeah, you don't really have any business joining finances, I don't think.
Something else that I was thinking about too. We've been together since 2015. We had joint credit cards pretty quickly because we moved in together after about 6 months, but we didn't really combine kind of all finances until we got married in 2019. And our net worth really shot up after that. And so I was thinking, you can take joint risks that way too. Like our real estate, we wouldn't have done, I don't think, all we've done in real estate if we had these like separate things going on.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And that kind of leads into another. I wasn't really sure if it's like a pro or con, but obviously when you're a couple, one person is going to out earn the other one. And if everything goes into the same bank, then it kind of disregards that, which again, is that a pro or a con? I don't know. It kind of just is. But to your point, then you can, at least one of the people in the relationship can take risks that they otherwise wouldn't be able to because they have access to capital that they wouldn't otherwise have access to. So
True. That's true. I feel like you've taken more risks over the years because you knew I had more cash.
yeah, I mean, but we didn't have entirely joint accounts, so we
No, no,
still
it's
don't.
it's true. It's true. So cons I have for 100% joint. One is like it can cause arguments, probably. If I saw what you have spent on the boat for the last year, I there would have been arguments that we literally haven't had because I don't know.
Yeah, you stole my con. That was my con. Wife knows exactly what all your hobbies are and how much they cost.
Yeah, there you go. You would know how much this microphone was, things like that.
So it's a pro for one and a con for another.
Yes, yes. Although, thank you, Steadily Insurance, for allowing me to purchase this microphone. I don't think any of your sponsors bought your boat stuff, but I digress. Yeah, so that was my other kind of con or like question there was when is the right time to go 100% joint? It's tricky to me. Should we
I
make
don't know that there's an answer to that because I don't know that it's ever right to go 100% joint.
Oh, you're taking a stand already early on.
Yeah.
That's a big deal on Money Twitter, by the way.
Oh, really? I
Oh yeah.
mean,
People are like, you're a couple, you should act like it. Meh.
right. Well, I mean, I'm excited to talk about the hybrid approach because I'm obviously biased there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's talk about 100% separate first. So this would mean all income is going in and expenses are going out of separate accounts. And I think a lot of couples that do this, we have some family members that do this, pay certain bills. So one person's responsible for the electric, another one the water, somebody the mortgage, somebody the groceries. And I think that's basically how the 100% separate types are paying for things, right?
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear from someone that is 100% separate because I really don't understand how that works. I mean, okay, think about you're out at dinner. I mean, does I guess just one person pays for eating out every time, or do you split it? Like I got I've got this fancy restaurant, and the next time it just luck of the draw, we're at McDonald's, and you pick up McDonald's. I mean, how does that work?
I think couples that have separate, I think somebody pays for all of the going out and somebody pays for all the groceries.
Yeah, I mean, I guess your expenses would be pretty normalized over the course of a year, right?
Yeah,
But
over
I could just see
time.
fluctuations. Like some months, I mean, at least with us, some months we eat out quite a bit because we got a bunch of stuff going on. And I guess the same is true with like the electric bill, right? It's just how do you normalize it? How do you make it? I'm going to use the word fair, which is I don't know, nothing is ever really fair. But how do you try to make it as fair as possible when there's just so much fluctuation month to month in bills and expenses in general?
Yeah, I guess it's just not. But at the end of the day, in this theoretical example, you could be married. So who cares if it's fair? But then why would you have separate anyways? Right?
Yeah. Um, Yeah, I question the whole idea of separate. I mean, to me, it's like this is it goes both ways, right? Is it because you have a lot of trust in the other person, or is it because you don't trust the other person? Like, why is it 100%
Yeah.
separate?
No, it's a good point. It's a good point. Well, I could see the 100% separate people where it's like it just never felt like the right time to combine everything because you were two separate people before you got together and then you just kept going that way. I could totally see that. But I think it's definitely ideal. So let's say one spouse has a spending problem. Every bit of money that goes in gets spent on something. And they don't, and maybe you aren't aligned on personal finance and stuff like that, then I think 100% separate might be the way to go. You just have one spouse who spends everything they make on BS and the other one who covers everything.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm sure it works for some people. I don't think we've ever personally considered it, but
No. Have you ever, so do you have any pros there for that one?
um, yeah, I think 100% separate is appropriate for someone in a relationship that they're not sure about.
Nice. Good one.
I mean, that's it. I mean, outside of that, I don't understand when you would be 100% separate. It just logistically seems challenging. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like there'd be a lot of conversations going on all the time.
Yeah, a lot of room for arguments and in relationships. You don't need to open up any more
True
opportunity
that.
for that.
Yeah. Right. We never argue. Um, I have a con for 100% separate of splitting things 50-50. If you end up trying to do that, like you said, the just trying to keep things straight would be very difficult. Also can be very hard if there's a big discrepancy in earnings.
Yes, I had that actually, yeah, noted as well. I mean, so how do you split bills? Is it proportional based on income, or like you said, is it 50-50 or yeah, I agree
Yep.
with you.
Yep. And then this is one where the same thing that is that we talked about with the 100% joint is you can't see what the person's spending if they're spending it on crap. So you would probably avoid some arguments in that scenario.
Yeah, and kind of again, I think it's a pro for some and a con for others. So something that we, or at least you think I struggle with, is using the right card at all times. So this kind of eliminates that to some extent. So like, what if I'm just gonna paint you a picture? What if I'm out running some errands and you're the normal grocery person, which is complete opposite. I should have switched that. And and you asked me to go swing by the store and pick up some eggs, but like, all right, that's like your expense. So now are we like keeping this accounting straight?
Yeah,
I just it's just an odd idea to me. But yeah, the
I know.
idea of separate cards, right? So we have joint cards and we have separate personal cards, but there's often times where it's not clear. Should this be joint? Should this be separate? So I suppose if everything's separate, you kind of eliminate that confusion or create it depending on what you're trying to
Yeah.
purchase.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing about 100% joint or 100% separate, then you don't have that card problem. What Eric is talking about is when Chipotle shows up on our joint card and I don't eat Chipotle because it doesn't agree with me. And I'm like, I know for a fact that wasn't joint. You were out by yourself.
Yeah, or the round of golf gets somehow on the joint card.
Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't go
Sometimes
golfing.
mistakes happen, you know?
And I'm kind of kidding. Obviously, it's not a big deal. It's just kind of funny when I notice stuff like that. All right, hybrid. This is obviously we have not done a good job, I don't think, hiding how we feel about these. This is probably where we both lie. What we think that people should do is have some sort of hybrid situation going on.
100%. Couldn't agree more. I think this is yeah, the best system, but maybe biased because it's what's worked for us.
Yeah, it works. It definitely works. I mean, I don't know that there's a perfect system. And then there's sort of two ways to do this. We used to, when we first started dating, we would have all of our income go into our separate accounts. And then every month we would make a transfer into the joint account and pay bills from there. So that's one way to do this. The other way is all income goes into the joint account and maybe a certain amount just goes for personal
Hmm.
spending. What do you think about those options?
I didn't even consider the second option. I only thought about sort of how we do it, or how we originally did it, I guess, which was we agreed on, or I guess we budgeted our monthly expenses, and then we agreed on an amount that we were going to each transfer into the joint account, and we paid all our bills from there. And one of my, I guess, cons is um, auditing that sometimes. You know, you have your monthly expenses and some things go above and beyond what you budgeted for, and now you're like, okay, well now where does that money come from? And you just split that too, I guess. So I mean, we've had many conversations about that, and that worked for us for a long time.
Yeah, years and years. That's kind of what we did but where when we were dating, but before we got married, I would say.
Yes, that's right.
We still have the remnant of that system, except you pay all of our joint expenses now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's right.
We've been testing what it will be like for me to retire. So Eric and the real estate have been paying all of our joint expenses for a year, and I've been
Work,
saving my money.
yeah, works out well for me because now I don't have to stress about Chipotle. Make sure I use the right card.
Yep, because I have no idea. What was I gonna say? Yeah, well, the weird thing now that we have going on is like, so I've been saving my money, and we're closing on a property, right, in a few days. And we've had this conversation over the last month or two where it's like, how much money do you have? How much money do you have? We like have to think about, all right, how are we getting the money for the close of this? And if we were completely joint, we would know what everybody had. We wouldn't have to be like, all right, what's your wire going to be? And what's my wire going to be? And stuff like that. Or are we going to transfer to the joint account and then wire from there? You know, because we're both contributing to this purchase for, I think, the first time.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, we have those conversations all the time, so I think we're pretty aware of what each other have.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time you ask me, I have to like be like, all right, I have this much an ally. I have this much in Chase. Oh, what I like about the hybrid approach, either way, whether the income goes into the joint and then filters to the separate, or the income goes into separate and then filters into the joint. Let's say you have like student loans or maybe a car loan or something from before you were married. You can just like pay that yourself without having to burden your significant other, your spouse with it. I know some people that have taken that approach.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, there's definitely expenses that one party might have that, again, shouldn't maybe impact the other one, but depends on where you're at in a relationship. Are you married? Then it doesn't really matter.
No, but it might make the person feel better. I know quite a few people that have done that. And I wasn't about to pay your $150 TV payment when we got together. You know what I mean? That was all you. That
Well,
was
then you
all
weren't
you.
about to watch my 90-inch 4K TV then either.
Hated that stupid TV.
Yeah, one more thought I had about the this hybrid approach, which is actually kind of interesting when you mentioned the two different ways to do it. I kind of even do a hybrid of the hybrid approach right now, where I have it set up on direct deposit, but I have a set amount that automatically deposits to our joint, and then the remainder goes into my personal. So which does that fall under?
I think that means it's mostly going. If it's most, it just depends on the percentage. If it's mostly going to your personal and only a little bit goes to the joint, then you're filtering it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that. And when I have coaching clients, financial coaching clients, I kind of suggest one or the other with automated transfers, right? Or either an automated transfer or a splitting right at the direct deposit. Because you make a good point. You can have part of your check go to one account and part of your check go to the other, or you can have it all go to one and then have automatic transfers. But either way, you
Right.
kind of end up in the same position. I
Yeah.
like what you do because you do direct deposit into that account, we don't have any fees on that account. If you got everything into the one account and then you transferred, we'd have those fees because you wouldn't have direct deposit, because that was one of the reasons we set it up that way, I think, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, that's right. I remember we fought with fees for a couple months until we just figured out this little hack.
Yeah, exactly. I only include that just so that, something for people to think about. And as I was going through this, the point is there's no right answer. There's really no right answer. You have to do what works for you. I'm obviously pretty active on money Twitter, and there's a lot of opinion that you should be 100% joint if you're married. We are a team, act like we're a team, etc. But that has my question has always been, okay, at what point do you do that? I mean, we're talking like you walk off the aisle of getting married, you're walking down the aisle, boop, 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 and what, you walk to the bank and you go, I mean, at what point, or is it like the day you get back from your honeymoon? Or is it before you leave for your, I mean, I don't really know when exactly you go from these two separate people to a hybrid, to a joint, or whatever. So don't beat yourself up. There's no real right answer. And I don't think there's any real answer to the right timing either.
So I guess it sounds like it should be kind of a progressive thing where you go from separate to hybrid to eventually maybe joint. I
That's what
mean,
we did, I would say.
yeah, but we're still not even 100% joint. So
No, but
are you
we're
not
more
comfortable
joint.
going fully joint with me, Lauren?
I like this approach because you're paying all the bills. So this is actually working really
Yeah.
well for me. It's you are joint by yourself, and then I'm separate by myself.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes, guys, we've been testing out, truly living. We always knew mathematically we could live off of one income, but we've been literally doing that for a year. One income plus the real estate. I guess that's two incomes.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever method you choose, you can also go back and make changes to it, I think is my point. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You have to do what works for you in your relationship, but it does need to work for both people. That's something where, if one person's really uncomfortable, and you and I have had some of those conversations over time where like we were 50-50, and sorry to out you here, but I was making quite a bit more at one point, and you were like, can we 60-40 it? And I was like, okay. So we did that for a while. Then we went back to 50-50. So keep having conversations and make changes. And, now that you're out earning me, you get to pay it all by yourself.
So now it's 100% zero.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
that
can
makes
count
sense.
you can count the real estate in my category. I think I dragged you along that journey for sure. So is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up? I think this is a pretty short one, but I feel like we covered it.
No, I think you kind of stole my concluding statement. It's just, yeah, it's personal. You got to kind of test things out and see what works for you. We tried out a few things and it evolved over the years, and it's probably going to still continue to evolve.
Yep.
So
Yep, absolutely. Cool. So everybody, you can follow me on Twitter at Adulting is Easy. I'm on Instagram at Adulting is Easy Real, YouTube at Adulting is Easy, and this is video recorded. So if you want to take a look at our face, if you guys want to know what Aric looks like, you probably maybe haven't seen him yet, go over and do that. If you want to join the podcast, I've had some requests to join. Please email me, realadultingiseasy@gmail.com, with your pitch of why I should have you on. Thanks again for listening, everybody. Hopefully, Aric and I have made adulting a little easier for you.